Okay, how's everybody doing? Welcome to part two. It's getting exciting. The trees are starting to take shape. Yeah, I'm really loving this. You know, like I really like to do the scenery like this, the trees especially, because I think that trees are one of the most important factors for immersion level on a small layout. On any layout, really, depending on the size and the footprint and the varied degrees of details and so on. I mean, obviously you're not going to build 1,000 trees like this. But I have, back in the past museum, we had the budget though, and the people and the time. So all the trees, I would say 10-15% of them were as good as this and even better in some ways. And it was in O scale. So I made molds from pool cues. Tapered pool cues, and then made like movie style molds and poured them resin quick, and mixed up the three main larger O-scale trees, different diameters, and we just mixed them all up and you couldn't tell. But anyway, so this particular series is about the scale feature tree, and we're talking about like foreground vignetting, as I mentioned in earlier content, the vignette within the larger scene, which helps compose the greater whole, right? Which raises the immersion level and ultimately inspires us to do more, to model more. And I like to treat trees like a model. I understand the background, I understand the filler trees. I've seen ones with just a hillside covered and then, just sticks, toothpicks, and, on and on. So I'm pretty familiar with the model tree genre that's out there, and there's a purpose for all of it. But in this particular series, like I said, I want to take you through this process of how to do a really effective scale tree. And I'm going to bounce around a little bit, so I'm going to add clips in, touching on texturing, even the base, when you do three together like this, for example, and then the secondary branch flocking, not the foliage flocking yet, and limbs and branches. That's what I want to touch on. So I'm going to insert clips and show you. Especially if I can emphasize the layering of this 12mm flocking. Like, not to put it on in one go. If you want, that's fine. But if you want to do a really nice scale tree, and you're going to see near the end how effective they are and the reason for my madness on this issue. Like, this is 3 layers of 12mm. You lay on one layer, I'm going to show that, and then you shake it off. So this is the tree on the right, the evergreen, and this has had 2 layers of flocking on 1/3 of the wire branch. Okay, all the branches are just the 1/3 of the end, and so I've laid on the second layer, and watch what happens when I start giving it a rattle and a shake. See, we want to work all this off, right? And then I'm going to lay on another layer. I'm going to massage it away. So you get, like, see this splaying out here? Like, look at the edge of the tree. Now, this tree is going to get painted brown, right? They'll call this the cherry tree. It's going to get painted. This is all going to be branches. Look at trees in the wintertime. Take a good hard look at them and you'll see the branch work. The leaves make up a very small part of a tree. They look like the most of the tree because of the perspective we view them from, but they're very, very small percentage of the actual tree when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it. And in this case here, this is the second application. I haven't shaken this off yet, and I'm going to show you that as well. Okay, so this is the second layer of the secondary branch flocking. And once again, most of it has come off. And I'll even rub it, I'll give it just a massaging with my fingers. And, just flatten it out a bit, pull it off. You only end up with 10 or 15% of the flock remaining on the tree, and that's what you want. So you can see what's happening here with the branches. Let me show you a real world pic. You see what I'm getting at there? So now we're getting the skeleton of the tree, right? With this multiple layered application. when we go to airbrush this or even spray bomb this tree dark brown, all this is going to be this skeleton of the tree without any foliage flocking on it. And we're going to have all these little limbs here. Like, look at the edge. Like, study the edge of the tree. Right? I mean, that already starting to look good. Look at the shadow behind it. So that's another layer, right? And that's what we're after. Less is better. And then, of course, this subject model here hasn't been flocked yet because I'm still working the wire limbs up. Similar to this one here that I just bark textured with dirt, right? So this is the cheap and cheerful method of applying the bark to the tree. So we have this coiled up tree, carpenter's glue 50-50. Just soak it onto the coil here. Glue should have lots of grip because of the coil. And then just dirt, sifted dirt. That's all this is. Sifted fine dirt from outside, dried out. There's one barked tree.